Here's the start of our review for the 4B unit test. The first question says write a trigonometric equation with a phase shift of pi over 4, an amplitude of 2, and a period of 3 pi with a parent function y equals cosine of x. In order to write an equation, I need the a, b, c, and d values. A is amplitude, so that's 2. It doesn't say that we moved the axis at all, so I'm assuming that B is 0. It says we have a phase shift of pi over 4, which must mean right pi over 4. So the C value is minus pi over 4. And the period is 3 pi. So 2 pi over B equals the period. Now cross multiply and solve for B. Divide both sides by 3 pi. B equals 2/3. Now that I know my a, b, c, and d values and the parent function is cosine, I get y equals 2 times the cosine of 2/3 times x minus pi over 4. Okay, number 2. It says a sound wave has the equation y equals 5 cosine of 14 pi x. What is the equation of a sound wave with triple the frequency and half the intensity? Intensity is comparable to amplitude. If you ever heard somebody say the amps, that's the intensity. And so if it's half the amplitude, that's going to make the 5 become a 2.5. And then triple the frequency. Now you might think this says triple, so do we actually divide by 3 rather than multiply by 3? However, frequency is 1 over the period. So since frequency is the reciprocal of the period, then rather than dividing by 3, when we take the reciprocal, we're going to end up multiplying by 3. So we simply multiply by 3. So 14 times 3 is 42, and we still have the pi x. So the only reason though this says 3 times the frequency, we didn't divide is because frequency is the reciprocal of the period. So when you take the reciprocal of the reciprocal, we end up multiplying by 3. Number 3. We're to look at this equation and identify the amplitude. This is A. Now this is not B. Remember, we need to pull that 2 out into the front. So I'm going to rewrite this equation. Y equals 3 times the sine. When I pull the 2 out in front, that means I had to divide both of these by 2. And I get x plus 3/2 pi minus 7. This is A, B, C, and D. The amplitude is 3. The period, remember, 2 pi divided by B equals the period. So 2 pi divided by 2 is pi. The phase shift is always the opposite of C, so it's negative 3 pi over 2, or left. And the vertical shift is minus 7, which is down. Okay, let's go to number 4. It says for this trig equation, let's identify the domain and range. Well, all cosine curves go forever and ever left and right, so that's all reals. And I've got to look at this and realize that I have shifted. Well, first of all, let's pull this out, put it in that standard form. Y equals 2 times the cosine of 4. So I'm dividing both of these by 4. Times x plus pi over 8 plus 5. My range, how high and low it goes. My new axis is at 5, and my amplitude is 2. So I'm at 5, and I'm going to go up 2 to the highest point, and I'm at 5, I'm going to go down 2. So the highest point on my graph is 7, and the lowest point on my graph is 3. So my range is that y is between 3 and 7. Identify the period. Again, we need to pull that 6 out in front. Y equals 2 times the cosine. So we divide by 6 and pull out the 6 in front. So this is A, B. There is no C value, and this is D. The period is always 2 pi divided by B. So that's going to be 2 pi divided by 6, which is pi over 3.